Hey everyone, this is Connor with AmateurHourMTG. Wanted to bring you a little bit different video today than our typical gameplay videos. I wanted to go over my Yuriko deck, which if you've been following the channel, this is by far my favorite deck to use. I think Yuriko is one of the strongest commanders available. She can just get you crazy card advantage while also dealing damage to each of your opponents. So I wanted to kind of show you a little bit about my list and go over a couple cards in the deck and give you a reason why I run them. So I'll start off talking about Yuriko here. She is blue, black, and a generic, but we don't care about that. All we care about is Commander Ninjutsu. For a blue and a black, return an unblocked attacker you control to hand. Put this card onto the battlefield from your hand or command zone, tapped and attacking. She gets around commander attacks very easily. She could die 8 times in one game. If you attack somebody with an unblocked attacker, you can spend a blue and a black right here and bring her back into the field. So super beneficial there. She also has whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's converted mana cost. So you'll kind of see right down here, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Period. I'll kind of get into that a little bit later and why that's important. And then each opponent loses life equal to that converted mana cost. So I'll get into that a little bit later. But I've got the generic, just your typical Yuriko printing here. I have this full art foil, which is metal. Pretty neat card. It does have 2 separate printings. It's got the one on the front here, and then you've got this one here on the back, which is pretty neat. Shout out to Pat for getting me this as a gift. Really appreciate it. And then we've got this one here, which is an altar I had done. This is Zed from League of Legends. For you League of Legends fans, you probably know what I'm talking about. So yeah. Let's get into the creatures here a little bit. I'll kind of read each creature briefly. I'm not going to read each of them fully, just because we'd be here all day. But we'll go over Vesuvian Drifter, flying. Look at the top card of your library. At the beginning of each combat, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you reveal a creature this way, Vesuvian Drifter becomes a copy of that card's end of turn. This can be very strong. She can be copies of ninjas. She can be copies of any creature on the top before combat, or during combat, excuse me. So there's some benefit there. There's another card in the deck I'll go over with you, which is a little janky, but I think it's funny, so we'll get into that a little bit later. Shadow of Mortality. This is just a big damage spell for Yuriko Flip. This is going to deal 15 damage to your opponents when you flip this off the top. It's a 7/7. And if your life total is less than your starting life total, the spell costs X less, where X is its difference. So if you've lost 13 life this game, you can cast this for 2 black. Thieves Guild Enforcer, just a black. She has flash. When it enters, each opponent's going to mill 2 cards. And as long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in the graveyard, she's going to get +2/+1. And Death Touch. So very helpful there. You guys are going to be using your ninjutsu triggers a lot, flashing her out, and opponents are going to be milling their cards very quickly. This is helpful to keep in hand if somebody does a top of the library tutor. Flash this in, throw that card in the graveyard. Changing Outcast, just a black changeling. Can't block and can't be blocked. Very helpful in getting your ninja triggers off with Yuriko. Fairy Seer, 1 blue, flying, and scry 2. He's going to help you manipulate the top of your library a little bit throughout the game. You're going to be able to reuse him again by attacking, using a ninja, putting him back in your hand, casting him again. So he can help out quite a bit. Fallen Shinobi. We've got a black, blue, 3 generic. He's got black, blue, 2 generic ninjutsu. When he deals combat damage to a player, That player is going to exile the top 2 cards of your library, and you're going to get to play those cards without paying their mana cost. Super helpful. 4th Bridge Prowler, 1 black. When he enters, you may have target creature get -1/-1 to end a turn. So similar with the Fairy Seer, you're going to probably play this guy a couple times by putting him back in your hand using your ninjutsu abilities, and you're going to get rid of those pesky, mana dorks and those 1/1s that are, have a little bit of value for your opponents. Higger the Steel Wind, 2 blue, 3 generic. He has 2 blue, 2 generic ninjutsu. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you can search your library for a ninja card, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then you can spend 2 generic and give a target ninja, or target ninja can't be blocked this turn. So again, helping you getting through people's board states, getting those Yuriko flips by giving your ninjas unblockable, and you're going to be able to just search your library for a ninja when he deals damage. Inkrise Infiltrator, just a cheap 1/2 flying ninja. You can pump it up. You're probably not going to use that ability, but hey, it's there if you need it. Ingenious Infiltrator, 1 black, 1 blue, 2 generic. He has black, blue ninjutsu. And whenever a ninja deals damage to a player, you can draw a card. Very nice. Very good card advantage. You stack this on top of Yuriko, you get 3 ninjas attacking and unblocked. Not only are you going to get 3 Yuriko triggers, so that's 3 cards in your hand, he's going to put 3 more cards in your hand. So very, very good to have him out. Mist Significant Naga, 1 blue, 2 generic. He has 1 blue, 2 generic ninjutsu. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, create a token copy of Mist Significant Naga. This guy has won me a game before. Those copies are going to deal damage, they're going to create more copies. Those copies deal damage, they're going to create even more copies. This guy's not dealt with right away, you're going to snowball and take over the game very quickly. Mistblade Shinobi, 1 blue, 2 generic, has ninjutsu for 1 blue. Whenever Mistblade Shinobi deals combat damage to a player, you may return target creature that player controls to its owner's hand. So, very cheap way to get people's creatures bounced to their hand, especially if you're using his 1 blue ninjutsu ability. Very, very helpful. Moon Circuit Hacker, 1 blue, 1 generic, has 1 blue ninjutsu. When he deals damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card, unless Moon Circuit Hacker entered the battlefield this turn. What's nice about this is if you're using the ninjutsu, you're going to just draw a card. If you're not using the ninjutsu and he's been on the field and you attack, you're still going to draw a card, and then you got to pitch one. There's some cards in the deck that use Delve, so there's some benefit there, and obviously getting through your library quicker is going to help you win the game. Moss Dust Changeling, 1 blue Changeling, so ninja, essentially what this is. Tap an untapped creature you control. Moth Dust Changeling gains flying to end a turn. So you're attacking into, a player's board state that's got some blockers. You can tap one of your creatures that may not be able to get through and give this guy flying, and now you have a flying ninja. Mukutai Ambusher, 1 black, 3 generic, and then 1 black, 1 generic ninjutsu, and he has lifelink. Nashi, Moon Sage's Scion. Whenever Moon Sage's Scion deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library. To end a turn, you may play one of those cards. If you cast the spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than its mana cost. Okay, so this guy is very good. Essentially, if you're manipulating the top of your library, you can cast your spells by paying life off the top rather than, having to spend mana. But also, let's say you hit somebody else's library that's got something good. Maybe you want to play that instead. So, very beneficial there. And he's a ninja, so he's going to help out with the Yuriko flips. Izumi Prowler, 1 black, 1 generic, 1 black, 1 generic ninjutsu. Enters the battlefield, target creature you control gains death touch and lifelink. This could be helpful if you attack with multiple creatures. Maybe one of them gets blocked, another one doesn't. You ninjutsu this guy in, you give your black creature Death Touch and Lifelink, and now you're killing whatever creature they thought they were going to block and keep alive is now dead. Ninja the Deep Hours, 1 blue, 3 generic. 1 blue, 2 generic ninjutsu. Whenever Ninja the Deep Hours deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Again, Ninja, we're getting the flip from Yuriko, and we're drawing a card from him. Ornithopter, just a 0 mana cost flyer that's going to help you get your ninjutsus out. Phyrexian Walker, same thing, 0 cost, 0/3. He can still attack, and he's a pretty good blocker. Getting this out on turn 1, along with that Ornithopter, that's really going to help you secure your turn 2 Yuriko, which is really what you need to be shooting for. Sakashima the Imposter, 2 blue, 2 generic. You may have Sakashima the Imposter enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except its name is Sakashima the Imposter. It's legendary, in addition to its other types, and it has 2 blue, 2 generic. Return this creature to your owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. This guy I've kind of been thinking about taking out and swapping him. There's a little bit better cards out there I'm sure I could put in here. He can come in as a copy of any creature on the field. That can be helpful, but you're spending 4 mana to do that. I don't know if that's really worth it. It doesn't really synergize with any of the other decks. Sure, you can get another ingenious infiltrator and get more card draw and stuff like that, but he's in here for now, but I'll probably be taking him out shortly. Prosperous Thief, 1 blue, 2 generic. Ninjutsu, 1 blue, 1 generic. Whenever one or more ninjas or rogues, creatures you control, deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure. If you hit 2 players with 2 different ninjas, you're going to create 2 treasures. So, nice mana advantage there. Sakashima Student. Now this guy's pretty interesting. I'll kind of go over how he works and what you can do with him a little bit. He's 2 blue, 2 generic. He has 1 blue, 1 generic ninjutsu. And you may have Sakashima Student enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's still a ninja in addition to its other types. Now, why that's beneficial is, let me go back here a little bit. Let's see here. We'll use this Moon Circuit Hacker as an example. Okay, so let's say you attack. Right? You attack with your Moon Circuit Hacker. He's not blocked. Your opponent declares no blocks. Okay, you tap 2 mana, blue and generic. He comes back to your hand, and you put Sakashima Student in his place. Sakashima Student could come in as a copy of any card on the field. Let's say somebody has a Dockside, right? Perfect. And there's 5 artifacts on the field. Great. You just created 5 treasures. Now, before combat is over, even after damage, you can now spend 1 blue by putting this guy in its place and bringing Sakashima back to your hand. I now have 4 treasures, right? Okay. Well, now I would like to play Sakashima Student using his ninjutsu ability by spending 2 mana. So now I have 2 treasures. Well, he's going to come in as a copy of that Dockside again. So now I'm back up to 7 treasures. Now I can do this again. 1 blue, go down to 6, bring him back. 1 blue, 1 generic, go down to 4. Make 5 more. Now I have 9. So as you can see, what we're doing here, even though clearly he's not a Dockside, you can loop him and make him a Dockside or any other creature that's on the field and gain value from that. He can win you games depending on what creatures are on the field. If you've got a Dockside and somebody's playing Kenrith, congratulations, you just won. Loop this guy, create your infinite treasures, draw your entire deck, play Thassa's Oracle. Congratulations. All right, let's move on. Tetsuko, 1 blue, 1 generic. Creatures you control with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. Thousand Face Shadow, 1 blue, has 2 blue, 2 generic. Ninjutsu. We're not really going to pay a whole lot of attention to that, but we'll go over it. He has flying. When he enters the battlefield from your hand, if it's attacking, create a token that's another copy of a target attacking creature. That token enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. There are some situations where this is going to be helpful, but truthfully, he's in the deck because he's 1 blue and he's a flying ninja. Universal Automaton, Changeling, 1 generic, so ninja. Thassa's Oracle. For those of you who have played cEDH, you're well aware what this card is. For those of you that don't, I'll go over it a little bit. When Thassa's Oracle enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. Put up to 1 of them on the top of your library, and the rest on the bottom of your library, in random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. So essentially, if your devotion to blue is more than the cards you have in your library, you just win the game. I'll go over quick combo. Again, I'm sure everyone's seen this, but I just want to explain it a little bit. Here's an instant called Demonic Consultation. Name a card. Remove the top 6 cards of your library from the game, and reveal the next card to all players. If it is the card named, put it into your hand. If not, remove that card from the game, and continue revealing the top card of your library and removing it from the game until the named card appears. Okay, so what we do with this, we play this, we name a card we don't have in our library. We'll name a Goblin Sharpshooter. Okay, we're in a Dimir deck. Clearly we don't have Goblin Sharpshooter, so we were going to reveal the entire amount of our library and kick it out of the game. Great, that resolves. Thassa's Oracle, when it enters, is going to look to see your library, see that you have no cards, while her devotion is 2. As long as you have 2 or less cards in your deck, you just win the game. So the way you would do that, you spend your 2 blue, you cast Thassa's Oracle. You hold priority, you cast Demonic Consultation on top of that, naming whatever card you don't have in the deck. You're going to dump your whole library out of the game. This resolves. As this enters, this has an ETB to check your library. If your devotion to blue is more than what you have in your library, you win the game. There you go. Easy combo. Alright, Fairy Mastermind. 1 blue, 1 generic, flying, and it has flash. Whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you draw a card. We're playing cEDH. There's a lot of card draw for other opponents in the game. Being able to draw a card whenever an opponent draws their second card a turn, this is going to get you really good card advantage. He's got flash, so you can keep your mana up throughout the opponent's turns and drop him just before it's your turn, and now you have a flying attacker that you can ninjutsu in, or ninjutsu some ninjas in for. Last but not least, Blightsteel Colossus. Now you're probably wondering, why the hell is there a Blightsteel Colossus in this deck? Well, we're going to go back to our Vesuvian Drifter. At the beginning of each combat, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you reveal a creature card this way, Vesuvian Drifter becomes a copy of that card to end a turn, except it has flying. Okay. So, what we're going to do, this is very jank, I'm very aware, okay? We're going to have our Vesuvian Drifter out on the field. Okay? In our main phase, we're going to play an Imperial Seal. We're going to go get our Blightsteel Colossus. we're going to put our Blightsteel Colossus on top of our library like that. We're then going to move to combat. Beginning of combat, reveal. Uh-oh, it's a creature. Vesuvian Drifter is now a copy of Blightsteel Colossus. Okay. We go to combat. We now swing an 11/11 Trample, Infect, Indestructible Blightsteel Colossus. And one-shot somebody. Now, nice little synergy with this. It's not the worst thing in the world. Is if I'm attacking with another ninja, this ninja hits, and I have Yuriko out. Not only is this creature going to kill one player, this ninja is going to hit the Yuriko trigger, it's going to flip the Blightsteel, and it's going to deal 12 damage to everyone else that's living. Blightsteel is also going to help you against mill. If there's a player who's milling you out, causing you to dump your library into your graveyard, Blightsteel is going to just keep getting shuffled in. So you're going to prevent that mill player from winning. You're going to have to exile it. Like I said, kind of janky. Definitely janky. Haven't had a chance to use it yet. But kind of neat. Alright, let's move over to the sorceries. Let's take a look here. Alright, so we got Imperial Seal. Search your library for a card. Shuffle it, put it on top. You lose 2 life. Personal Tutor. Search your deck for a sorcery. Reveal that card to all players. Shuffle your deck and put it on top. Scheming Symmetry. Choose 2 target players. Each of them searches their library for a card. Shuffles their library, puts that card on top. As you can see here, we've got a lot of top deck manipulation to help get those big spells out to deal massive damage with Yuriko. Seagate Restoration. This doubles as not only a land here on the other side, but it also is going to deal a lot of damage with Yuriko. Temporal Trespass. 8 generic, 3 blue. 11 damage if you flip this with Yuriko. If you get a chance to cast it using Delve, which you probably will, for 3 blue, take an extra turn. This can really secure the game for you if you just need one more turn to win. Treasure Cruise, 7 generic, 1 blue, has Delve also. A lot of times I've just played this for 1 blue. Gitaxian Probe, Phyrexian mana, so 1 blue or 2 life. Look at target player's hand, draw a card. We'll get back to this card a little bit later. Doomsday. So for those of you that don't know what Doomsday is, just because this is Japanese, one of my favorite cards in the deck, you're going to be able to search your library and your graveyard for 5 cards. You're going to put those 5 cards on the top of your library and exile the rest. So now you just went down to 5. If you have Thassa's Oracle and your devotion is higher than 5, or whatever you have left in your library, you can win the game that way. But the line for this, you've got Doomsday. You have Gitaxian Probe. You have Gush. And you have Thassa's Oracle. And then, truthfully, the last 2 cards can probably be, whatever you want. If you want to get some protection, you can put like a Force of Will or like a Pact of Negation, Force of Will, something like that. And use these as your 5 cards for your Doomsday. You can also just get big mana spells like your Treasure Cruise and do it that way. But let's say here's our Here's our 5 cards for our Doomsday pile. Okay. What we're gonna do, we'll cast Doomsday. It resolves. We're gonna get these cards. All right. Now, the way that we're going to set it up, you can do these last 2 can be either any way, but you want to do Gitaxian Probe. You're going to do Gitaxian Probe on top, Gush next, Thassa's Oracle next, and then either a Force of Will or Pact of Negation after that, just for some extra protection if you need to. Right, so here's our Doomsday pile. Now, all we need to do is crack it. Well, the way that we would crack that is with a Yuriko trigger, card draw of some sort, anything like that, just so we can draw a card. So boom, we're going to draw a card. We're going to draw our Gitaxian Probe. Great. We'll pay our 2 life, which we hopefully have, to look at target player's hand. You're going to want to target the player who is most likely to counter your stuff. We do that. Perfect. And then we draw a card. Well, now we just drew our Gush. Now, hopefully at this point, again, you have at least 2 islands. And you can cast Gush by returning 2 islands you control to your hand instead of paying its mana cost. So, perfect. We do that. Boom. Return 2 islands to our hand. Now we're going to draw 2 cards. So now we're going to draw 1 and 2. We're going to get our Thassa's Oracle and our Force of Will. We have 1 card left in our library. Now all we need to do is pay 2 mana, cast Thassa's Oracle. Nice thing about it is we have guaranteed either Force of Will, Pact Negation, whatever counterspell, free counterspell you want to put. You're going to have that in your hand as well from your Doomsday pile. So now, you play Thassa's Oracle. Somebody tries to counter it. You've got your Force of Will. Thassa's Oracle comes in. Devotion is going to be 2. Well, you only have 1 card in your library, so you win. So, that would be kind of like your typical Doomsday pile I would recommend doing. There are some other ones out there. Just do whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you like to do. You don't have to follow anybody's rules or regulations. And, yeah. Last sorcery, Crippling Fear. Choose target creature type. Creatures that aren't the chosen type get -3/-3 till end of turn. So, super helpful there. Help wipe the board if you need to. Alright, let's get into instances. Pact of Negation, target counter spell. Gush, we just saw this. Return 2 islands to your owner's hand. Draw 2 cards. This is just a free draw 2 cards if you have 2 islands. Force of Will, should be pretty aware of what Force of Will does. Demonic Consultation. There we are. That's how we're going to win with Thassa's Oracle. Dark Ritual. I'm on the fence about this one. I like being able to get the extra mana for certain cards if need be for 1 black, but it could be cut. Vampiric Tutor. Help manipulate the top of the library there. Submerge. This is a Japanese foil. Submerge. Again, love this card. As long as you have an island and an opponent has a forest, you can play it for free. You put target creature on top of owner's library. Pretty self-explanatory. Snuff Out. If you control a swamp, you may pay 4 life instead of paying Snuff Out's mana cost. Destroy target non-black creature. Sickening Shoal. You may remove a black card with converted mana cost X in your hand from the game rather than pay Sickening Shoal's mana cost. Target creature gets a -X down to turn, where X is converted mana cost of the card you pitched. If I pitch Snuff Out to Sickening Shoal, I'm casting the card for free, and you're gonna give creature -4/-4 to end a turn. Pretty neat. You don't have to pay the black if you do that. So keep that in mind. If I pitch this, I don't have to pay any mana for this. and I'm giving a creature -4/-4 to end a turn. Mystical Tutor, more top deck manipulation. Misdirection, exile a blue card from your hand rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Change the target to a target spell with a single target. Mental Misstep, cEDH. I mean, this is a cEDH staple. Pay 2 life to counter a spell with converted mana cost 1. Really good way to lose your friends if you're countering their mana vaults, soul rings, things like that on turn 1. March of the Swirling Mist. This is an interesting one. Additional cost to cast a spell. You may exile any number of blue cards from your hand. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. So, essentially every card you pitch is adding 2 to your X. Up to X target creatures phase out. So, yeah. This can clear the board state on an opponent's board to help you get in with your ninjas. This can phase out somebody's combo piece, preventing them from winning the game this turn, hopefully getting around to you. A lot of value there. Limdual's Vault. Another top deck manipulation. Look at the top 5 cards of your library as many times as you choose. You may pay 1 life to put those cards on the bottom of your library and look at the next top 5. Shuffle all but the top 5 cards of your library, put those 5 on top in any order. Essentially what you're doing is you're paying 1 life, you're looking at the top 5, choosing if you want to keep those at the top or put them on the bottom, and then you can pay another life and do it again, and pay another life and do it again, and pay another life and do it again. So, pretty helpful. Force of Negation, nice free counter spell. Force of Despair. This one's an interesting one. I don't see this one played very often. If it's not your turn, exile a black card from your hand rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Destroy all creatures that enter the battlefield this turn. So, yeah, pretty nice. Fierce Guardianship. Here's your free counter spell if you have Yuriko out. Dismember. Target creature gets negative. I knew this was going to happen. I knew it. I think it's -4/-4 to end a turn. Nope, I think it's -5. Let's take a look. -5 to end a turn. 2 Phyrexian, 1 generic, so most times than not, 1 generic to give a target creature -5/-5. Dig Through Time, 2 blue, 6 generic. Delve, look at the top 7 cards of your library, put 2 of them in your hand, rest on the bottom in any order. This is going to help you get to certain win conditions if you need to, help you really dig for answers, hence the name Dig for Time. Deadly Relic, this is your free exile target creature spell, as long as you have Yuriko. Psych Rift, I think everyone knows what Psych Rift does. Contagion, another unique one I don't see played too often. You may pay 1 life and remove a black card from your hand from the game instead of playing Contagion's casting cost. Effects that prevent or redirect this damage can't be used to counter this life. Yeah, we know that. Okay, put 2 -2, -1 counters distributed any way you choose on any number of target creatures. And it's 5 mana, so if you flip this with Yuriko, you're getting good damage there. And it's an easy way to clear the board. You're going to be able to get rid of somebody's 2/2 or 2 different people's 1/1s. Commandeer, another high mana value card, good for Yuriko. Remove 2 blue cards from your hand from the game rather than play Commandeer's mana cost. Gain control of target non-creature spell. You may choose new targets for it. Somebody goes and plays a big spell to attempt to win the game. If it's a non-creature spell, you pitch 2 blue cards, you cast it. Congratulations, you played yourself. Now you have the card. Brainstorm. I'll go into this card a little bit here in just a moment. Let me get this one done. Offer you can't refuse. 1 blue, counter target non-creature spell. Its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. Most people will look at this card and think, no, I don't want to give somebody 2 treasures. Well, if you're countering their win condition, you're going to be okay giving him the treasures. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's go back to Brainstorm here. Why this card is good. Brainstorm is very, very, very good in this deck because if you, let's get a couple ninjas here. Zoomy Prowler and Moon Circuit Hacker. Let's get these guys out. And then let's get, let's just show you kind of the potential for something like this. And we'll get Shadow Mortality. Alright. You're in a game. You have 2 ninjas. And you have Yuriko out. Okay. Here's your library down here. I'm going to put this card on top. This card's going to, let's just say this card's in your hand. We'll make it easy. You got Brainstorm, you got this card in your hand. Go to attack. 2 ninjas are attacking. Attack the same person, attack different people, doesn't matter. 2 Yuriko triggers are now on the stack. Alright? What I'm going to do is, let's do this here. Hold on. Sorry. Shadow Mortality is going to be on the top. Let's say we manipulated it there with a top deck manipulation, you know, any of our tutors. First Yuriko trigger. We'll flip. Shadow Mortality. 15 damage to everyone. Remember that period. Put that card into your hand. Period. Okay. Put it in my hand. Everyone loses the 15. Second Yuriko trigger. In response, I'm going to cast a Brainstorm. In response to the second trigger, I'm going to look at the top 3 cards in my library. Yep, I'll keep this one, and I'll put the other 3 back. Brainstorm resolves. Second trigger. Oh look, it's Shadow Mortality again. I just did 30 points of damage to all my opponents with 2 ninjas, a Brainstorm, and a Shadow of Mortality. This card is very, very good. Please make sure you're responding to your ninja triggers. I even forget it sometimes myself, but if you're really trying to maximize the damage with Yuriko, make sure you're doing that. All right, let's continue on here. Trying to speed this video up. There's only 2 enchantments in the deck. Cover of Darkness comes into play. Choose a creature type. We're going to pick ninjas. All your ninjas have fear. Can't be blocked except by artifact creature or black creatures. Can be very good to make sure you're getting your triggers off with Yuriko. And then we got Dress Down. This card, you can flash it in. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. Creatures lose all abilities. Beginning of the end step, sacrifice Dress Down. Again, preventing somebody from winning with their win con if they have a creature that they're using to win. Dress Down can prevent that. Dress Down can prevent people winning with Thassa's Oracle. So keep that in mind. Few artifacts here. Null Rod. Players can't play any artifact abilities requiring an activation cost. Null Rod shuts down artifacts. It's a collector oof. Mox Amber. Pretty familiar with Mox Amber does. Mana Crypt. Lotus Petal. Curse Totem. Activated abilities of creatures can't be activated. Now, you might be thinking, well, Connor, isn't Yuriko, Commander Ninjutsu or Ninjutsu an activated ability? It is, but it's in your hand, so it doesn't count. So you can still use Curse Totem on, or you can still get around Curse Totem with Ninjutsu. And then Chromox. And last but not least, the lands, pretty boring stuff. I run 9 islands, 1 swamp, and then, you know, you've got your non-basic lands. Mystical Sanctuary have 3 or more islands on the field, this is going to put an instant or sorcery from your graveyard on top of your library. Again, this can help manipulate the top. If you've already played one of those big instants or sorceries and you want to put that spell on the top, help you get more damage with Yuriko, this is going to help you do that. Watery Grave, Verdant Catacombs, Underground Sea, Takenuma, Abandoned Mire. Discard Takenuma, Abandoned Mire, mill 3 cards, return a creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. Ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary. This is nice. It really is just a swamp, truthfully. You're not going to use that ability very often. There may be cases where you need to get specific creatures back from the graveyard if your Thassa's Oracle's in there or something like that. That's what you want to use it for, but truthfully, don't use it just to get a generic ninja out. It's not worth it. Tainted Isle, Sunken Hollow, Shizo Death Storehouse. Again, going to tap for a black, but you can spend a black and tap it to give a target legendary creature fear to end a turn. So a little bit of a kind of a cheesy way to give Yuriko through to people. Scalding Tarn, Polluted Delta, Otawara, Soaring City, 1 blue, 3 generic. Discard Otawara, Soaring City, return target artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Again, ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature. This is just an easy way to get, something bounced to an opponent's hand that may be preventing you from winning or preventing you from getting your Yuriko triggers. Just an easy way to get rid of somebody's combo piece, all that kind of stuff. Misty Rainforest, Marsh Flats, Gemstone Caverns, Command Tower, Clearwater Pathway, City of Brass, and Choked Estuary. So yeah, there is my Yuriko list. Let me know in the comments below kind of what you guys think. There's a couple cards in here, obviously, that could be taken out and tweaked and made a little bit better. I enjoy the list a lot. Again, one of my favorite decks to play. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you guys run in your Yuriko decks. I'd love to take a look at them. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I love this deck. I've been playing it for probably 4 years total. 2 years casual, 2 years competitively. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.